Hey, welcome back. This is A Good Things Marriage Chest. I'm Tiara.
And I am Adrian. Welcome back into our space.
Welcome back.
And thank you. Y'all confusion. Thank you for allowing us in your space.
Yes.
Yes. Y'all, we just want to say thank you again for being with us every week.
Yes.
We appreciate you.
We do.
We love you.
We love you.
Before we get into this lesson, before I get all mushy, before we get into this lesson, let's get some. I got the housekeeping hands. Housekeeping. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, notification, socials, all the things.
All the things.
All the things. We appreciate you. Make sure you share with others so that they can also get in on these good tips too.
Yeah, anybody that you think of when you're watching this, like, oh, you know what? She was just talking about this. So such really, go ahead and share it. Go ahead and
share it. Now, Teacher Twee, what we learning this week, Teacher Twee?
Today we're talking about being each other's safe space. Being your partner's safe space. That's important.
It is.
It's important.
It is, because I was surely about to say, do y'all know how important that is? Being a safe space for your partner.
Yeah.
It allows for vulnerability.
Yes.
It allows for openness and honesty. It allows you to be comfortable with your partner, with your spouse. Like, y'all.
It's a part of the intimacy between you two.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Yeah.
You have to be a safe space.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Now let's get into these meat and potatoes.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about safe spaces in marriages are built on the foundation of acceptance, open-mindedness, and respect.
Yes.
There are conversations where the spouse shows a genuine and authentic interest and curiosity in their spouse's concerns. This would mean acknowledging them and trying to understand things from their point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, we got our 2 cents.
Yeah.
We got our guidance, and sometimes they talk to us because they want guidance, and sometimes they just want you to listen.
Yeah.
They just want you to let them vent, you know?
Yeah.
So, Dree, for you, what does it look like for you to create a safe space for your hubby?
Being a listening ear, especially if it's like something that's really getting to him. Like, I don't try to give solutions if he's in vent mode. So I'm more so just like listening. And then, when he's done, I'll, just say, hey, words of affirmation or affirming words.
Yeah.
I do apologize that happened to you today, but I know that you're going to get through because you're smart and you know how to do this stuff, or you're understanding, or you're kind, or you always do the right thing.
Yeah.
I always make sure I do that. And he does the same with me.
Yeah.
Like sometimes he got to gauge, like, hold on, is this listening time or should I give advice?
Yeah, right.
But for the most part, like we try to, we understand when it's time for a safe space to vent, and time for a safe space to, like, put some questions out on the table to get some answers back or some feedback on what we are thinking or what our opinions are. So how about you?
Yeah, I think about like my husband's day daily, coming in from working hard and, ready to vent about his troubles and stuff at work, and how to first, I try to think of ways to like create an environment where he feels relaxed. So, it could be something real simple. Like today, I already knew, like, he just came in, he worked hard, long, he's already frustrated, a lot of stuff going on at work. So I'm thinking like, okay, what can I do to get him to the point to where if he does want to talk, he can. Yeah. So I'm not always the best about making a bed. Some days I do, some days I don't.
Most days
but today, I made sure that I changed the sheets. I made the bed. I made sure there's a towel, big towel, small towel, stuff ready. They're ready to bed. I made this plate. I had it in the microwave. I texted him and said, well, when you get here, I got towels and they're ready for you to get in the shower. I got your plate already made. So I know you had a rough day. Just simple stuff like that can help to start off like if he sees that, he's like, oh, okay, thank God, because I'm tired. I didn't want to have to look for a towel. I didn't want to have to worry about this. So that can be helpful.
It's thoughtful.
Yeah. And I do think about how really you want your partner to feel like that you're considering them and you're thinking about them and what's going on. The last thing you want is for them to feel like you're making anything about you or you're not really hearing them. So, like what you said, really taking the time to listen to them and hear them out. And I think the other thing too, I was just thinking about is even though there could be some things that are the same between men and women, I think there's some things that's different because like for us, sometimes I just might want you to hold me for a minute.
Because sometimes being a safe space doesn't necessarily require or need talking.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just just lay here, like you said, just come hold me. It's literally being a safe space, like a comforting tent, a comforting cover.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah.
Instead of spewing, and then when you're ready to spew, you still have that safe space.
Yeah. Like for my husband, he feels like it's therapeutic for me to retwist his hair. It's such a chore for me. It's such a chore for me. But he gets something out of it. Yeah. So it's like, okay. Not retwisted. Not like I've just got done doing hair, cooking, laundry, anything else.
Right.
But yeah. So, it's about, like, again, what Adrian was saying, thinking about what works for them, what helps them in that moment, gazing their day, being engaged. And it helps that we spend a good amount of time on the phone during the day, so I can kind of gauge how his day is going to go. So if I'm hearing a lot of, and we're talking through stuff anyway, it may not be as many words to be said. It's just a matter of like, okay, I know the type of day he has, so let me do this, and this to make it better, But ultimately, I think like the two main top things is being heard, and I think things like that help them to make them feel seen or loved, So I jotted down some concepts of what a safe space is, and that's being seen, being heard, being loved, being accepted, and being respected. So if you think, I think it's important too to kind of gauge at times, maybe even ask your spouse, do you feel accepted by me?
Yeah.
Do you feel like I respect you? Because what we think may be, we could be trying all the things, but sometimes I think we kind of have to gauge like, okay, while I might think this, kind of the same way with love languages, while I might think I'm giving this, contributing this, loving by giving this action, whatever, that may not be the way they're receiving it or not receiving it to the level that we think we're giving it.
Right.
So I think it's important to ask your spouse every once in a while about these concepts and say, do you feel seen by me?
Yeah.
Because, another scenario is that we know sometimes people be out here in people inboxes, seeing people on the route.
So hard.
Seeing people in the store, whatever. Or even somebody trying to sneak in their inbox. And so the enemy is always finding ways to whisper, suggest things. And so you don't want, and this is in either case, you don't want your spouse to not feel seen by you, wanted by you.
Right.
And so you want them to feel so assured that, no, my spouse got me, my husband got me, I'm seen, I'm loved by them.
Yep. Because you're filling up that safe space cup.
Yep.
You're filling that up to where nobody else can step in and be like, well, I could feel. No, you can't.
I know what I got at home.
Okay. No, you can't, sir.
I knows what I got at home.
Okay.
Okay, boo boo.
Shantae's got a man.
Okay.
At home.
But that's to kind of touch on something that could happen when you don't. You don't want your spouse to feel neglected. You don't want them to feel like they need to go to everybody else but you, because if you come to them, they'll feel judged or like you're blowing them over, like they're not important, or whatever you had going on that day is more important than what they had going on that day. And I think it can be balanced where you guys are sharing with each other, you know. And again, I think that's also still about creating that space. Like once y'all finally get settled with the kids, with dinner, with this, and y'all just laying on the bed and just holding each other. We're like, so how was your day? I know I talked to you, but you know, how'd the rest of your day go? You know, anything you need to get off your chest or, you know, whatever. And then just checking on. Sometimes I think we still negate the fact that there's nothing wrong with still saying, how are you? How are you? Because I know with everything that you told me you happened today, where are you at now?
And see, that's something, I will admit, that's something that I don't think to do. A lot of times when I'm thinking of how are you, I'm thinking of, oh, how are you? Like when you're
like just a cliche.
Like, you know, but I remember hearing, I think it was one of our pastor, our old pastor, the late great Charles Roach. We miss you. I think he had said something. I don't know if this was him or it was someone else, but they did mention something about the whole "how are you?" When we ask people, we're just asking it in passing, and we're quick to default. So, oh, I'm good. How are you? And then you keep it moving. And so when you approach your spouse or your relationship, and then also being their safe space, their person of comfort, you don't want to do that to them. You don't want to just be passing by and it's oh, how are you? Like you want to like actually like, so how was this, or so tell me what happened, or how are you feeling? And actually engage in how they are. You know, just like you want them to engage in how you are doing if they ask you the same. But it's just being present, you know, with the how are you, and not passing, how are you? Oh, great. You know, we want to be engaging. We want to be engaging.
And ask, what can I do to make you feel better? You know, because again, I could think that having them towels and dinner and stuff ready, but maybe that's not what he needed today. Maybe he needed it to be in a hot bath because he's been lifting and all this stuff today.
Soreness.
So you can ask too. It's nothing wrong with you asking to say, is there anything that you need? Is there some way I can make you feel better? And sometimes they may say no, but I think, you know, to Adrian's point, just doing anything to be thoughtful, they're still going to appreciate it no matter what, because it came from you. So, but let's talk about what I put down as going the extra mile, but it's not necessarily going extra mile. It's just being like ways to be intentional. One would be learning what their triggers are. This really requires like really listening and being intentional
and paying attention.
Because
let me tell you, the wind can do this, and I'm triggered. In the words of Janae Aiko, I am triggered. So sometimes my husband don't understand, or not understand. Sometimes he don't notice it, like the first couple of times that he might do something, or you know, the kids could do something, or something could be said, or you know, I could see the dishes, or I could see this or this, and it could trigger me. And he, you know, he gets caught up in the crossfire. It's like, wait, hold on, what just happened? And I'm like, sorry, baby, I was triggered. I was triggered. But I also try to pay attention to things that trigger him. And when I see that he's triggered, I'll go in and, hey, babe, you know, go ahead and calm down. You don't have to do that. We can let's calm down. Let's like, what's upsetting you? I'll ask probing questions like that, because I just want to know, so that we can know not to do that again.
And sometimes, you know, your spouse may not know exactly how they were triggered. They just knew they were triggered in a moment. So you might just hear it in their tone of voice, or they might just yell out and do a release or something. Sometimes. And, you know, it's been times where you was aggravating. You didn't really know why. I'm like, I don't even know why, but I'm just irritated right now.
Boy,
I've had that several times.
I've had that all the time. Every day. I trigger myself.
So as long as you can tell in the moment, you're paying attention, like, okay, that she's irritated about something, you know. That's enough, as long as you're paying attention and checking in on them about it.
And helping them get through it. Sometimes triggers in my head, are bite-sized anxiety attacks, anxiousness.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So to help get them off the ledge, you have to you got to be patient with that, because sometimes it can go into you trigger and then it starts spiraling to other things. So just try to work with them to get them down, to calm them down. So we have to girl people y'all.
Another one is to let them advocate for themselves without feeling judged. So, just thinking about like somebody could have had a rough day and, coworker peed them off or something, or, maybe one of your children, if they're dating, they vented and told you something about the boyfriend or something, and you lost it. You ready to go off on them, you ready to cuss them out, you ready to text them, you ready to whatever. You want to feel comfortable being able to vent, even if you don't mean it, because we know sometimes we say stuff we don't mean. But you want to be able to come to your spouse and tell them exactly how you feel in the moment. And you want to be able to do the same for them. So, don't, when they do that, don't try to go in and make them feel bad or whatever. Like they'll come to it on their own. Just let them have their moment, because they can't do that to everybody, and you don't want them to do that with everybody. You really want them to come to you, say it to you. You don't want them to develop friends to, or coworkers to tell personal stuff to. They need to be able to come to you first. You guys need to be able to share everything with one another, and that's that part of being vulnerable.
Being vulnerable, and then making sure they're not judged, because sometimes you can have some or something could trigger you, or something could upset you at work or just in the life situation, and in your head you're like, man, I hope they don't look at me differently, because I can't stand my mama this week. Some people be real sensitive, but like, what, you can't stand your mama?
Right.
What's going on there? Does that mean you ain't gonna stand me? But no. So I don't want to feel judged if I'm coming to you and I'm like, man, my mama just did this, or man, my daddy just did this, or man, my sister, or people at my job, or that, like I had mentioned earlier, like just being quiet sometimes. If that's a purge, if it's a purge session, let the purge. There's this woman. Look, cut myself off because I got all these thoughts in my head. There's this woman that I follow on TikTok. I came across one of her videos, and she was talking about how she becomes a safe space for her daughter. And so what she'll do is put a pillow up. They'll sit next to each other, side by side. She'll just put a pillow up, and she'll just let her daughter just like vent. She don't care what her daughter says. She just, let her just get it all out. And then afterwards, they'll put the pillow down. She'll ask her if she wants to talk further about anything. If she says yes, they will. If she says no, they don't. She gives her daughter a hug. And then they try not to bring it back up. Her mom doesn't judge her for how she's feeling or things that she's saying. Or because we have to also remember that, even though we're partners, we're spouses, we're a married couple, we're also two individuals having two individual life experiences. So, something that may not upset your partner might upset you, and vice versa. So, you can't invalidate how they feel by, judging them in the moment of vulnerability with them getting it all out. You don't ever, like Twee said, you don't ever want to do that, because the next person could come along and be like, come on, you could lay on my bosom and tell me all about it. I'll kill you dead. Try me if you want to. Try my men if you want to. I'll drop you. Okay? Don't let this pink shirt fool you. I'll drop you down. I'll get you. Oh, man. But yeah, you want to just make sure that, you're not judging them in their moment of vulnerability, and you want the same reciprocated for you. Give it a chance to let it come all out. hug, words of affirmation, show love, embrace, show that you support. If they need anything after that, show, that you are there to support them, and, keep it moving. Now with husband and wife, unlike the mother and daughter, they're not going to bring it up again. Sometimes there might be cases where you have to address some of those things. Because as the wife or as the husband, you want to make sure you know how to work through all of this stuff with your partner. Because like I said, we're two individuals on two individual life paths, but sometimes we need help going through those journeys. So, if you're there for your spouse, you're going to try to help assist them throughout whatever this experience is, this life lesson that they have to go through. It's not your lesson, it's their lesson. So, and you're just there to just kind of help them through it and make sure that they don't, harm themselves, harm anyone else, make sure they think with a clear mind and not with an upset one.
And sometimes make sure you know how to now act around a certain person because of what's been shared, what you should do next. If you need to stand on guard, or if you need to be like, I don't think this is a good idea based off what you told me, it's your decision, but I'm just saying, therefore you can kind of weigh in and help them too. Because sometimes our spouse do look for our advice and guidance about, if we feel like we're doing something right, or because you guys are friends first, your spouses, but you're also praying together regularly, hopefully. And so sometimes you feed off one another on making good decisions or bad decisions. So Adrian had already kind of mentioned about just taking a moment to stop and hold them or hug them, letting them know that you're there. And then committing, she also mentioned too, committing to help them work through it if that's what's needed. I asked them, what would you like me to do? Or what do you think we should do next? So how I can help you, as I mentioned before.
How can I support you? How can I support you through this?
But also following up and checking in, which we kind of talked about too. That could be later that day. It could be the next day. It could be next week. You guys might have kind of had that moment of getting it out, but then maybe nothing else has been said about it and you're still thinking about it. More than likely, if it's on your mind, you probably need to ask them. Because I feel like the Holy Spirit sometimes kind of like
to give you a little reminder.
Like ask and see. Maybe you should check and see how they feel today, or follow up, or what decision they made, or whatever the case. So make sure you're checking in with them and see how they feel now, and being patient through this process of this journey, not only in that moment, but what has to transpire afterwards, and being patient with just the journey in general. Like Adrian was also saying, because certain things that they vent about can change the trajectory. Certain things you just don't know how big it's gonna be. It could be small, it could be huge, it could be a family feud, it could be a change in a relationship with a parent, with a sibling, with the children, y'all's children. I mean, it could be
a change in your thought process, because you could be in the beginning of the issue, you could be thinking, one way, and then by the end, like, you didn't thought about it, you didn't processed it, you didn't, looked at and considered both sides, like, oh, well, maybe I did overreact. So, being patient, don't let your partner come in and be like, I think I had a change of heart. You had a change of heart. You didn't have me go through this whole thing with you. Just like, oh, okay. Well, what helped you change? Well, what led you to changing? Like, how did that happen? Just ask those. Like I said, I ask probing questions. That's how you get to the answer. So,
can you think of anything else that we need to add to that?
No, I just want to reiterate, just making sure that you give a space to just purge, a space to be quiet, and a space to ask questions, a space for them to receive advice and suggestions from you. Because that's really what it is. You just want to make sure that if your spouse feels like they are spiraling, that you are there to help catch them.
Yep.
That you're there to help catch them, because sometimes in the middle of that spiral, you don't know how you're going to react, but you need somebody there to just kind of help you stay level-headed.
Yeah.
Don't give up on them. Don't be, kind of write them off because you're, tired. Because sometimes when people are going through stuff like that, their stuff can hop on you and put you in a mood. So you have to also, another thing, make sure that you keep your mentals healthy and protected, and, pray over yourself, smudge yourself, cleanse yourself, however you need to do to keep your space, protected, so that you can walk through, those things with your partner, and the same for them. So just make sure you remember those spaces.
Yeah.
A silent space, a be quiet space to just let them purge, and give advice and suggestion space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be there to help them when they're spiraling.
Love conquers all.
It surely does. It surely does. Yeah. Well, I think that was an amazing lesson today.
It was.
I'm always preaching being a safe space, not just for your partner, but you can do this in your friendships. Mm-hmm. You can do this in with your children. Mm-hmm. You can do this with your familial relationships. Just, understand that being a safe space sometimes can, like I mentioned before, mm-hmm. it could hinder you mentally as well. Yeah. So, you want to make sure that you are nice and clear-minded, you're cleansed, keep yourself protected, mm-hmm. and then, show your love to those that need it when they need it, how you can. Don't overwork yourself now. They ain't trying to be no safe space for 20 people.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Maybe 4, 5 tops. And I got to be a safe space for myself as well. What? That's a lot. It is. Well, y'all, thank y'all again for joining us this week. Like we always say, not to spill, but don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all the things. And sure. Tell us what y'all think about safe space. Are you a safe space to your partner? Are they a safe space to you? Is that something that you all practice? Is that something that you all didn't know about? Let us know down in the comments so that we can know. And we just encourage you to just be your best self. Be your best self. Be your best light. And if you think there's and things like that.
And if you think there's anything that hinders you from being a safe space, share that as well, because we do want to talk about that and address it. We would never be promoting staying in any toxic relationships of any sort. But at the same time, I do feel like that sometimes people mentally have to be ready to receive a person who's ready to be a safe space for them.
Oh yeah, because that's taboo sometimes. I'm like, hey, what you talking safe space?
Yeah,
you trying to put me in a dungeon?
Because they don't trust nobody, or they're still in the process of learning to trust you. And it does take trusting a person in order for you to be a safe space for them.
Right.
So sometimes in some situations it could take a little time. Yeah. But hopefully, if you're married or you're engaged,
you got to that path to where you are trusting, and you trusting hard.
Yeah.
Yes. So, well, to our spiel, because you thought I was going to say it earlier, didn't you? But here it is now. A good thing is not hard to find,
but it takes work to keep it.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes. All right, y'all. Until next week, we love you.
Love you.
And goodbye.
Bye.